The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 Episode 5 First Look, The Wedding Changes EVRYHing. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a show and suddenly thought, wait, who are you right now? Because I'm not gonna lie, watching Belly in Episode 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 gave me emotional whiplash. And I don't mean in a cute rom-com, I'm rooting for love kind of way. I mean, I felt like I got gaslit by a fictional character. One moment, she's breaking things off. The next, she's ring shopping and skipping Paris. Oh, and she's doing it all while her mom refuses to even show up to the wedding dress fitting. Like, ooh hat, are we even watching right now? And more importantly, why does it feel like the show is trying to trick us into believing this makes sense? I swear, Episode 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty felt like a chaotic fever dream. It's Belly's 21st birthday, but instead of wild nights and Parisian dreams, she's getting rejection served with toast, a mom who ghosts her, and a fiancé who thinks 5 days apart is a national emergency. And yes, I said fiancé. Jeremiah and Belly are really doing this. They're getting married, in cousins, in the same town where her entire emotional trauma resides. But wait, it gets weirder, because while we're all focused on the love triangle between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah, the real battle in this episode wasn't romantic, it was generational. It's Belly versus Laurel. And in that war, let's just say, the wedding might not be the only thing on the chopping block. But before we dive into all the messy truths, painful decisions, and that stewing breakdown between mother and daughter, let me just say this. If you've ever been blindsided by a character's choices, if you've ever screamed at your screen because your OTP is getting ignored, or if you just need a place where we question the logic, call out the chaos and dive deep into the forbidden dynamics, then you have to hit that subscribe button right now, because this isn't just a recap, this is breakdown epic, and I'm Sophia. Let's tear this episode open, scene by scene, because The Summer I Turned Pretty just turned into a whole different show. Here's the first problem. And I'm gonna say it loud for the people in the back. Belly's entire character arc is not making sense. Look, I was here for the drama, the tears, the choice between two brothers. But you can't have Belly go from confused and cautious to, let's elope and skip Paris, in the span of 3 episodes without even giving us a believable emotional bridge. Like remember in episode 1 when she literally said she didn't think she and Jeremiah were right together. Yeah, me too. Apparently, she doesn't, because now, she's full steam ahead. Wedding bells, sunflowers, skipping school, skipping sense. It's giving. I watched Mamma Mia once and decided to commit for life. And I get it. People are messy. Love is messy. But the show is pushing this urgency like it's life or death. Like Belly and Jeremiah have to get married this summer, or their love will self-destruct. Let me be blunt, it feels forced. Not earned. Not romantic, just rushed. As if the writers are screaming, please root for Jeremiah. We promise he's the one. Conrad who? And that's where my alarm bells started ringing. Because The Summer I Turned Pretty has always been about tension, uncertainty, and slow burns. Now, it's trying to speedrun a marriage arc in between coffee shops and guilt trips. Which brings us to the real twist of episode 4. You want the forbidden truth. This show isn't about Belly choosing between two boys. It's about Belly trying to replace the love she lost when Susanna died. And this rushed wedding, it's not about romance. It's about control. Let me explain. Belly grew up in a world where love was warm, predictable, and constant. Susanna was her second mom. She believed in fairy tale endings. She created the dream. But when Susanna died, that dream shattered. And Laurel stepped up as the sole voice of reason, practicality, and caution, and Belly's not here for it. So what does she do? She clings to the one thing that still feels like a dream, Jeremiah. Sun-drenched, loyal, uncomplicated Jeremiah. She's not running toward love. She's running from grief. That's why she wants this wedding to happen now. Not in a year. Not after school. Now. Because if she stops moving, she might have to sit with everything she's lost. And Laurel won't let her live in the fantasy. That's why Laurel skipped the dress fitting. That's why she's pulling away. Not because she doesn't love her daughter, but because she sees through the performance. And that's the real story here. The battle between Belly's fantasy and Laurel's reality. And trust me, reality is winning. Let's pause for a second, because I want to know what you would do. Imagine it's your 21st birthday. You've just announced your engagement, and your mom won't even show up for the dress shopping trip. Are you siding with Laurel for setting boundaries? Or are you Team Belly, trying to chase happiness in a world that's falling apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everything. Seriously, last week someone wrote a whole paragraph defending Conrad like he was on trial. Sir, your passion, isonen, your taste, questionable, but iconic nonetheless. Now, let's talk hypotheticals. What if Belly does go through with the wedding, and then Jeremiah realizes it wasn't about him at all? What happens when he starts wondering if he was just a rebound from grief? Or worse, what if Belly says, I do, and Conrad walks in at that exact moment? Because let's be real, if they're gonna keep ignoring Conrad like he's background furniture, the least they can do is give us a dramatic entrance interruption worthy of a soap opera. Also, not to roast, but does anyone else feel like Belly's decision-making process is just flipping a coin and setting fire to whatever side it lands on? Girl, you turned down Paris. You could have had cafes, culture, croissants. Instead you picked cousins, beach, and chaos. You better hope Jeremiah can bake because that was a tragic downgrade. Let's be real for a second. Belly is spiraling, but the show is pretending it's growth. She's not evolving, she's avoiding. She doesn't want to face the fact that the version of herself she built with Susanna no longer exists. She's desperately trying to recreate that safety, that security, that summer magic through a relationship that might not be as solid as she believes. And Jeremiah, he's the perfect distraction. He's sweet, he's stable, he says yes to every impulsive decision she makes, like skipping Paris, or getting married immediately, or dropping her education for a vibe. But here's the problem, love that never challenges you isn't love, it's comfort. And Belly doesn't need comfort right now. She needs clarity. That's why Laurel's storyline in episode 4 hit so hard. Let's talk about the MVP of the episode, Laurel. This woman said, "I'm not attending your wedding dress fitting." And somehow, it was the most loving move she could make. Here's why. Laurel is trying to teach Belly that love doesn't always mean agreement. It doesn't mean indulging your delusions. It means holding a mirror up to your face, even when it cracks. And yes, Laurel could have been gentler. She could have smiled through gritted teeth and helped pick out a veil. But what kind of mother lets her daughter sprint into a marriage built on denial? Laurel is standing on the shore while Belly drowns herself in romanticism. And Laurel, she refuses to swim out and join her. Jackie Chung's performance in this episode was phenomenal. She didn't need a monologue to break your heart. Just one look during that quiet breakfast scene said everything. I don't support this, but I still love you. That's real parenting. That's real tension. And that's the emotional core this show desperately needs more of. Now, let's talk about what all this means for episode 5. Because the title of this video isn't just for shock value, the wedding will change EVRYTHING, not because it's gonna happen, but because something is going to stop it. Mark my words, the show is building to a massive collapse. We're gonna see a moment where Belly finally confronts her grief head on, Jeremiah realizing he's not the fairy tale. He's the escape hatchet Conrad showing up again, and finally saying what he's been holding back, Laurel drawing a line in the sand. For real this time, if you think this wedding is actually happening, I have one question for you. Have we ever seen a cousin's beach event go down without emotional devastation? It's always fireworks and then fallout. And just imagine this episode 5 ends with Belly alone in the dress. No mom, no groom, just her, in the mirror, finally asking herself the question no one else has dared to say aloud. Do I even know what I want? And here's what breaks my heart, I've seen this before, not just on screen, but in real life. People chasing milestones to avoid mourning, falling in love with the idea of love, trying to fix their inner world by rearranging the outer one. That's Belly right now. And the saddest part, she doesn't know she's doing it. Just like she didn't realize in season 2 that you can't replace a mother with a memory. Just like she didn't realize that kissing Jeremiah wasn't healing. It was hiding. And just like she's about to realize that rushing a wedding won't give her peace. It'll just give her regrets. So now I want to hear from you. Are you Team Laurel or Team Belly? Was Laurel right to skip the fitting? Or should she have supported Belly, even if she disagreed? And be honest, do you think this wedding is actually going to happen? Drop your theories, your rage, your soft tears for Conrad. All of it in the comments below. This is a safe space for overthinking fictional decisions and emotionally roasting the Fisher boys. You're among friends here. Also, if you're watching this with a friend, I dare you to pause this video right now and ask them, would you marry your summer fling just to avoid dealing with your life? Watch their face. That's your answer. Listen, the summer I turned pretty season 3 is testing me. I'm invested, I'm emotional, and I'm dangerously close to rewriting the entire show as a psychological thriller starring Laurel. But if this show has taught me one thing, it's this: you can't fix your heart with a wedding. You fix it by facing what broke it. So if you're ready to follow this story all the way to its heartbreaking, chaotic, dramatic conclusion, you know what to do. Smash that like button like Conrad smashed our hopes in season 2. Subscribe so hard it sends you a Fisher family drama notification every week. And share this video with someone who still thinks Belly and Jeremiah are the endgame. They need help. And if you've made it this far, congratulations. You just emotionally survived an episode where the most stable character was a mother who didn't even show up. That's called character development. Or trauma. Honestly, hard to tell anymore.